Hi, I'm Ashley Appap.
And I'm Hayley Tanto.
Welcome to Call an Adult, a Pretty Little Liars recap podcast.
Each week we'll dive headfirst into the absolutely bonkers world of PLL as we recap the iconic series.
Where everyone is hot.
And no one calls an adult.
Let's go, bitches.
A. Snaps on 3.
1, 2.
Why'd I do so?
Keeping it in.
I did.
We're keeping it in.
That's so stupid.
Everyone, you probably know by now, sometimes we keep
Is that
the
going to
clicks.
be okay for the recording?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So at the beginning of every episode, we go 1, 2, and we click on 3. And Hayley,
Into the mic because it's meant to like spike the audio,
so
right?
that we can see where it is. Right. So Hayley, if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, then you would have seen Hayley went.
I did a click up to the sky for those not watching. Like a sassy click.
A sassy
because I
click
was
for a
in the
sassy
mood.
girl.
Which
Love
is
it.
not the point. The point is to click into the mic so Ash knows when our to sync our recordings, kind of, right?
I think the point is to have fun.
Exactly.
And the point is to have fun. And I'm grateful
I won't
to
be
hear-
persecuted for being fabulous.
No, not like Ashley Marin.
No.
No.
I will have an ankle monitor. I think it would look cunt on me.
Cunt.
Gagoo. It would look gagoo on me.
Gagoo.
Gagoo?
Don't mind if I gagoo. Hayley, how are you?
Oh, I'm so good because we're having a PLL recording day, so I'm always in the best mood
Me too.
ever.
It's a Saturday.
It's a Saturday. It's a beautiful it's winter, but it's a beautiful day. Finally.
Yesterday was the first warm day of like the sun is shining enough that you don't have to wear 3 layers.
No, it's going to be like 21 degrees next week.
Oh,
Celsius.
Incredible.
So that's good.
That is very good for us.
How are you?
I'm
You've
well.
got what's his name? Seymour.
I've got
Stanley?
Seymour.
Seymour. You had to wash him before,
I had to wash him.
or like clean him.
So it's
Not
it's,
to out you.
Hey, not to out me, but he was disgusting.
Damn.
It's just like I said, you've definitely, if you watch episodes, you've definitely seen that I just like play with this thing and it looks like I'm really fingering him in a really kind of grotesque way. But it's just because I pick at my fingers. I pick at the skin. I've talked about it before. Whatever, who cares?
Have
he's
your
great.
vice.
He's my if you want to hear him,
Vice.
he's sticky at the moment because I wiped him down with a Dettol like Clorox, like a wipe because
We all need a clean.
he was covered in dust and goo from how much I disgusting because I play with him all the time. Anyway, the 3 podcasters are here, Hayley, myself and Seymour, and we're ready to talk about Pretty Little Liars season 4 episode 10.
The mirror has 3 faces.
I almost said the last episode's title, Into the Deep, but it is The Mirror Has 3 Faces.
Oh my God.
And then I almost wanted to be like, Into the Unknown.
You have to edit that into the previous episode, which we won't do.
Into the
Yeah,
Unknown.
no. Oh no.
Into the Unknown. Important.
Aurora.
Borealis.
Is that the name? It's like always like Idina Menzel feet. Aurora in all caps? No?
Wow, I don't know. I'm not.
I love that we don't fact check much, but I am fact checking that.
Fun fact check.
Into the unknown.
One of the few
Yeah.
that was like a very big call and response thing with my nephew when he was like small. He's 4 now. When he was like 2, if you went he would do it back to you.
Oh my God, that's so cute.
Cutie.
Love nephews.
You fact checking? You did it?
Yeah, done. I was right. Yeah, it is. Aurora.
Incredible.
Cool. Let's crack into it.
This episode, an incredible episode.
This is fucking sick.
This episode, season 4, episode 10, was directed by Zenta Fuentes, which what a beautiful name.
Have we seen that name?
I think so, because I think we've talked about it before.
It's a great name.
And was written by one of the legends, one of the icons, Maya Goldsmith.
You know you're in for a good. This was really okay. That makes sense because this was really well written, like funny wise. This had really good
Yes.
lines. Caleb has a line. It is the line of the episode. We'll get to it. There are good lines.
Oh my, I think that I also wrote it down.
I nearly referenced it in our last episode.
It was that
Talking about
iconic.
Jenna in the lake. Soggy. Spoiler.
Soggy. This episode came out on August 13th, 2013. So happy birthday to you. Any August 13th Bambinis.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, including Sebastian Stan.
Oh my God. Carter Bazin from Gossip
Carter
Girl
Ba-
and
of
also
course.
very famous now for a lot of other
No,
things. But
yeah.
I'm always like, Carter Bazin from Gossip Girl.
He'll always be Carter Bazin.
And he's
to
literally
us.
so much more famous now for Marvel shit.
Absolutely.
But he's Carter Bazin.
Happy birthday to Annie Oakley. Get your gun, girl, I believe.
Get your gun.
And Fidel Castro.
Cool.
Well, it's this one. Last episode was
Oh my
incredibly
God.
star-studded.
It was crazy.
And happy birthday, Alfred Hitchcock. Lots of no disrespect. Lots of dead people.
Lots of dead people.
Born on
And
August
Hitchcock
13th.
is very PLL coded.
Oh,
They
yeah.
love a Hitchcock.
Alfred, you would have loved Aria.
R.I.P. Alfred Hitchcock. I don't know if you would have loved PLL.
I think he actually would have.
But I really
loved
hope-
it so much He
Because
would have been
this show is suspense, the thing he pretty much invented.
he invented suspense.
He did.
So Spencer Hastings.
That's great.
Thank you. That's great.
That's great.
Such a mum. That's great.
That's great.
That's great, girls. Well, I'm just gonna
That's a
be. I'm
really
gonna be.
good-
I'm gonna be in the craft room, just getting all my ribbons.
Do you know what energy that had and you are having is Mrs. D in this episode?
Mrs. D is? That's great.
It's great. Oh, I'm just getting a divorce right now.
Oh, my.
Oh, but it's okay. The heater man will be his. Emily, let me get you a snack.
The furnace man, the furnace guy.
And then she opens the cupboard and it's like, my dead daughter's clothes are in there, but I'll go make you a snack.
Well, I was going to make this. I was going to make a scarf for my husband, but
Gonna have to make a tight
sweater.
sweater.
That's right. That's right.
Jessica Di Laurentis in this episode already sweeping the awards.
Mother of the Year.
Mother
Mother of the Year award.
trying to chop her kid's fingers off. Honestly,
honestly,
fucking fair enough.
Allison's a little bitch.
Go hold your breath, Allison. Go hold your breath.
When you are a little psychopath and your friends are scared of you, go hold your breath. Yeah. Now, Hayley, speaking of singing, we're going to talk about what do you think the number
Blurred
one
lines.
song?
Blurred lines.
Hey, yeah.
Cool.
I'm not even going to read out other ones. Oh, okay. But for the next one onwards, I'm going to, let's at least try to, I'm going to make sure ahead of time that I don't just like, because even if it is blurred lines, we need to bring the competition and the vivaciousness back into the song of the
We do.
of the
Also,
episode.
it's like soon, surely, it is going to get to a time where it's going to be competitive, especially with
only
Avicii. Wake me up when it's Avicii, I said.
Avicii.
Avicii. May he rest.
May Avicii he rest.
Yeah.
Now, Hayley, it's almost time for us to hear from the 12-year-olds who write the Wikipedia episode descriptions. But first, can you please let me know, what does Australian streaming service Stan have to say about this? This is the one that I laughed at. Last episode, I said that I laughed, but I meant this one. This one's good.
Okay. Australian streaming service Stan says, Emily moves into Ali's old room. That's it.
That's it.
That's it. They're so simple and efficient, streamlined.
Streamlined. Streaming service lined.
And they're right.
And they are correct.
That is one of the plots.
one of the main plots, maybe. Who knows? Okay, now it's time to hear from our girlianas. I'm just going to, really get home.
Oh, you got to get ready.
I've always got to do a performance.
Yeah. Oh, I take my Stan bit so seriously when I say that. I'm like, this is my one moment for talent scouts to hear me, to hear my skills.
The big agents out in the field.
To hear me say Australian streaming service Stan.
Australian streaming
service Stan. Because we have a friend that does the Disney Plus voiceovers.
Yes. Shout out to Steph.
And every time I hear it, I'm like, oh, she's got a great voice.
She does.
I'd get her on the pod just for her voice.
We should.
But I don't think she knows fuck all about this show. All right, 12-year-olds, let's go. Let's go.
Let's go. Mrs. Di Laurentis offers Emily and her mother to stay with her until their house is repaired. When Ezra prepares to take legal actions to stop Maggie from leaving with Malcolm, he finds out that he is not really his son.
Who fucking cares?
Who would have yeah. And also, of course he's not. It is implied that Ren knows about Red Coat and Mona knows a secret about him, which is the reason she no longer trusts him. Spencer and Toby visit Dr. Palmer, and although they are unable to get details about the blonde girl he mentioned, he does mention knowing a Mrs. Di Laurentis. Aria finds out that Cece got kicked out of college due to Allison blaming her for pushing the girl down the stairs at the frat party Ali took the liars to.
She-devil.
Also, they don't even say that detail. I forgot that that's what they're talking about the whole time.
Yeah.
So thanks to the 12-year-olds. When Hannah goes into Alison's old room, Redcoat is seen entering Alison's house. Hannah goes in there and sees Alison's old jewelry box. In the reflection of the mirror inside the box, you see Redcoat wearing the Alison mask staring at Hannah, but she doesn't notice. Spencer and Hannah asked Mrs. Di Laurentis if she knew Dr. Palmer, and a flashback is shown of the related event. Alison playing the piano when her mum storms in furiously and berates Alison for something. Jessica says she got a call from Radley claiming that Alison wanted to admit herself. When Mrs. Di Laurentis got there, it was Cece dressed in Alison's clothes. Alison asserts that she was not in on Cece's plan, but Jessica says that Cece is no longer welcome in her house since the doctor she spoke to in Radley, Dr. Palmer, said Allie and Cece's relationship is toxic. It absolutely is. Following an observation from workers fixing the heating system, Furnace Guy, Mrs. Di Laurentis and Emily find Redcoat's hiding place, her basement crawl space. Emily discovers holes in the ceiling, meaning Redcoat was spying on her. And of course, there is an A ending where A takes Ashley's muddy shoe and throws it in the pile of Emily's collapsed house.
Sounds like that.
Sounds like that.
I remember we hadn't said that in a while.
We haven't. That was a really detailed.
That was extremely detailed
in a good way.
In a good way and in a way that I'm like, leave it to us. Not that they know, but like leave it to us
Hayley,
a little bit.
Surely they know.
I hope so.
The girls writing this in 2013 must have known that
We were
us here in 2024, 11 years later, would be coming for them.
We were coming for the gig. Shout out to the service workers, to the tradespeople, the tradies of Rosewood.
Of course.
The heater man.
The heater man, Toberki Kavanerki for a period of time when he was on the construction site. Of course. Baking a cake. Painter guy from the dental office where Sean's mum worked.
Remember Sean? No.
9/11, never forget Sean. Now, I would like to say that was like maybe a B+, maybe even an A-. Because it wasn't compelling, but we were getting information that was important and necessary.
100%. So if we can give them their flowers, give them their flowers.
Absolutely. Give them some tulips. It's tulip season, I've decided. Go on.
I love a tulip.
As do I.
My first note is just all caps, Goyle's in the hallway.
My first note is Spencer saying, honey, none of us is graduating.
Oh my God, I love that. Was okay. So I think this is where, so there are so many good lines in this episode.
So many.
So the girls are late because I think they've been visiting Jenna. They've been at the hospital.
Jenna, come on.
They're late for school. So they're walking down the hallway and they're kind of like, shush. Or like, because they're talking about Shana and Cece and all that.
Yes.
And then Aria is like, guys, like, shush, I want to graduate. Like, I don't know. So much. And then, Spencer goes, newsflash, honey, none of us are graduating. And then someone's like, is it an A? Oh, yeah, Emily gets a text and someone goes, is it an A text? And Emily goes, worse, it's my mother.
Ooh.
Funny. I was like, slay.
Speaking of, her mother is texting her to say that Jessica Di Laurentis is offering for them to stay at her house.
Don't do it. Can no one else, but literally no parents are home.
No, ever.
Byron, like, could
Except
they
for Ashley Marin, who's only home now.
She has to be. But
I
literally,
love it.
like, no, I have written at some point in my notes in this episode, where are the mums and the dads?
In the
They're
basement,
all
perhaps?
away. It's bananas. But anyway, they are going to stay at the Di Laurenti Di Laurenti house.
Di Laurent house. Jessica Di Laurent house. Then, as they're talking about this, because they're talking about how they're like, it's going to be creepy. You're going to be staying in her room. And Hannah says, you want to talk about creepy? Let's talk about the guy who hangs by the ice machine at Emily's hotel. He crushes it under his armpits.
That was such a...
What the fuck?
Like a PLL, like, subline.
That was like
just
them being
a
like,
little...
let's put in a joke. It's like,
whereas I'm
what?
like, you have better jokes. Like, the worst, it's my mother. The newsflash, honey, none of us are graduating. They're the funny bits.
Keep it in personality rather than random observations of ice. What are we
It was a
talking
Hannah Aria line.
It was.
It was definitely Aria or Hannah were going to get that line.
It was Hannah.
And it was Hannah.
Yeah. Then Ezra flops. Gerald is sad and can't open a door.
He's like locked out. He can't open the door because nothing's going right. He's got a paternity dispute and he can't open a door. And then I think Spencer offers to break in, ? He seems a mess.
you know what? Finally, doors are not being opened for this man. Close the
Thank
door.
God. Why is he back at school?
We've been asking this question for so long. How is he allowed to be there? Why is he allowed to be there?
I'm so sick of it.
And I'm so sick of Ezra being at school. Period.
I'm so sick of wishing he went to jail.
Yes! We did it. I went to clap on Seymour and my hand's stuck.
I don't know if anything else gets covered in that scene because my next note is just Hannah and Caleb talk in the courtyard. God, he's good.
God, he's good.
God, he's good.
He's found a cable bill that traces back to an address in Philly. Don't know who that goes to.
It's linked with Nigel Wright. I had to look that up on the PLL wiki.
Nigel's so wrong you don't want to be right.
Nigel is getting a lot. That actor is like, if you're going to say, can I please get a check every time you say Nigel?
Say my name because I am Nigel. Say my name is Nigel because I am Nigel. That's what he said.
That's exactly what he said.
Then...
and they think Cece may or may not be living there? I don't know.
Yeah. Caleb and Jake are going to a fight. He's got some kind of taekwondo fight thing. I don't care.
Okay. In the last episode, I had a note and we kind of breezed. It was not relevant to bring up. But okay, in the last episode, there was a moment where Spencer, they find like a photo and it's of Emily and Paige. And it's just a very normal photo of them in the pool. And Spencer says to Aria, did you take this? God, it's amazing. And it's the most normal photo you've ever seen.
It's like hand around arm, smiling.
Yeah, and then cut to now at the brew, Aria, like Jake is looking through these photos that Aria has taken of him fighting, and they're good. They're good. They're not like photography. They're just photos.
And he's doing it. He needs a headshot.
He's like,
for this
you
fight.
took these? These are crazy, man. I'm like, Aria can be so mediocre at things, and everyone's like, you should make money off that. Sounds like me.
Sounds like that.
Sounds like that. Anyway, I just find forcing the Aria photography storyline down our throat is interesting.
It is. Next, I've written Ren.
Ren is back. We're at El
Messy
Rados.
Ren. He gives Mona pictures, like these like.
It's like a drawing of a family at a barn.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
It gave barn to me.
He was giving barn and asked, like, how do you feel about them?
To which Dale does leave halfway through this episode to go upstairs and I think just have a shower. I think he was,
go wash, boy.
I think he was like 70 minutes of PLL is enough because we watched 2 in a row. But he did say, is this guy a psychiatrist now?
Who knows? He's just there all the time.
Like, he's not, isn't he like a doctor? Like
I don't know what he is or how he has access to every medical facility in Rosewood and maybe Ravenswood.
Definitely Millwood. If he should be in summer school.
He should. Oh my God, he should.
Anyway.
Bring him in. In this scene also, Mona, when he's like, how do you feel about these pictures? Mona says, tell your ass to take a class because this looks like Norman Rockwell sketched it with his teeth.
That is so, again, the lines being written and delivered in this episode are top tier.
Incredible.
Beautiful. Also, Mona points out Ren's spelling errors because he writes diagnosis instead of diagnosis, which is so relatable.
Yeah.
When you're writing things down and you just like forget a letter. But it was funny.
It was funny. And also she says the reason that she did this because she, quote, killed Wilden, which we know she didn't.
And he doesn't believe it. And his
No.
diagnosis reads extreme distrust and paranoia, delusions of persecution.
And she says she did it to make up for all the things she did to the girls.
Okay.
And then she says, he says, you used to trust me. And she said, that was before I realized where your loyalties were. Ooh.
It makes you think and it makes you stink.
And then he also says, he says to Mona, I know you stopped taking your medication. Interesting.
Also makes you think.
And makes you
and stink.
If you're taking too many meds, your piss might smell different.
Ooh.
Next, in all caps, I've written, Toberky Kavanurky alert!
We've got Toberky. We're at the brew. God is good and God is great. We're at the brew.
God
and the
is
sheep
good and God is great at the brew.
It's just when we're at the brew, I feel centered and I feel
Religious.
I feel good. I think it's where the community comes together.
Absolutely.
And it's where
more so than the church of all the funerals.
Absolutely. Yeah. The sheet music has landed in, it says Tofurky here, Toberky's hands, with a note from A that says, leave the lamb alone and go for the lion. Kisses. A.
I wrote, okay, Twilight.
Okay, Twilight.
Tofurky, he's plant-based.
Yum. Yummy.
Then now Emily has to stay at Alison's house, as we know. And
we are at Murder House.
We're at Murder House. Mrs. Di Laurentis is serving popped collar cunt.
This would be the funnest. Who do you reckon the funnest adult character to play is? I do think Jessica Di Laurentis. I do think Veronica Hastings is pretty fun because you get to do like your Olivia Benson.
Yeah.
But Jessica Di Laurentis is like cuckoo.
Yeah,
she's fun.
Jessica Di Laurentis, I think, would be the most fun to
She's
play.
Desperate Housewives.
But also maybe Ashley Marin.
I mean,
Get to wear that sexy little ankle.
she's so
under there.
natural.
She is, though. That's the thing. It doesn't even feel like she's acting. She's just being a really beautiful human being who we would kill for.
Spencer's also trying to. So Emily's like, ew, this room is creepy. Like Allie's room is creepy. It's like a shrine, blah, blah, blah. I just wrote Spencer tries to reassure her with historic trivia because she does. Because she's like in the something hundreds, people used to like, I think, with their dead children, like make paintings out of the corpses. It was again, the writing, there's all these little details and it's really good.
It's great. Then an incredible line from our king in Diet House 2.0. Are we there? You ready? You know what I'm talking about?
I just have one more note on that
Okay.
Emily will be staying there alone.
Oh, that's right.
Because her mum is out of town and this is where I said, where are the mums and dads? Okay.
Yes, okay. So
Now we're ready for Diet House 2.
So Hannah is putting some kind of a red sauce pasta into a bowl and Caleb sees and he says to her,
I thought you and Carbs weren't friends anymore.
Incredible, important stuff.
And then she's like, I'm not, this for my mum.
Taking it to her.
I am
upstairs.
very much friends with Carbs.
I do make friends with salad and I do make friends with carbs. You gotta make friends with it all.
I love salad, I love protein, I love carbs, I love it all.
I love it all. Well, Andrew,
To not eat
canonically,
pasta would be crazy.
it would be crazy. It would be crazy. Andrew, canonically, I want to be friends with fructose and sucrose, but it's a little hard.
Now, Caleb is about to have what I think might be the line of the episode, which is tough because there is a lot. So Hannah asks Caleb if he can help her sneak into Radley. He refuses, and because they're like, they argue about Mona being trustworthy.
Yes.
He says, did you write this down verbatim?
I think so.
Okay.
Start
He
with
says,
I think.
I think.
Or maybe it's something different.
I've got.
Hot Scoop, did we write 2 different lines down?
We might have. Okay, I'll read mine and then you read yours.
Okay.
The one I loved was from Caleb. A used a sedan to wrecking ball Emily's house. Jenna showed up in a lake looking like soggy bread. And now you want to go to Radley and ring the bell jar?
Oh, boy. Claps. That's incredible.
Don't care. I love it. What did you write?
I wrote, I remember seeing that bit and being like, that's great. And that was funny. And ring the bell jar.
I paused. I went back.
Ring the bell jar really got me.
It was like he would not say this.
No, he would never say that.
But it's a perfect
What I wrote was a little different. I wrote Caleb saying, I think it's time you went to your parents and the cops and tell them A is back. And then I wrote, Caleb said, call an adult.
He said call an adult.
He said that.
I completely agree. He's so smart and
So smart. And he's a listener of the pod.
He
is what we're hearing.
is what we're hearing. Tyler Blackburn listens to the pod.
And we say, come on whenever you want, doll. We love you.
Literally.
Then Hannah talks to Ren at the brew. Ren's just now everywhere. He's appeared, so he's everywhere.
Which is so Ren.
It is so Ren.
Like so Julia.
So random.
So random.
So random. Everything's so random. And she asks if Cece has been there. And I was like, Hannah, I was like, of course, it is on character for Hannah to kind of like blow their lid, blow their load, blow their cover, if you will.
Blowing all over the place.
Blowing hard. And then he says, oh, interesting. Yeah, well, apparently there was a young blonde that visited Mona in Radley last night. I thought it was you. She's like, well, it wasn't. He's like, maybe it was Cece.
And he was like, the hospital's short-staffed, so things have been falling through the cracks.
The cracks. And then Hannah leaves and Ren calls someone and suddenly his demeanor gets icy and evil. And he says,
hi, we have a problem. I'll take care of my end.
And you take care of yours. Who is it and what is their end?
And what is Ren doing?
And I love it.
Go to work. Well, he's come off a 72-hour shift,
Yeah,
he says,
look,
which I think is illegal. Definitely illegal.
Absolutely. Well, it's obviously not the only illegal thing he's doing. Then Toberky desperate for mama info.
Oh, mama. This storyline continues.
It continues.
It continues. It is longer than I recall, but that might just be because we're watching this quite stiltedly.
Yes.
It's long.
It's long. And eventually there's a reason for that, I do believe. But at this point, if you're watching for the first time, you might be like, why?
Why?
Then Jessica Di Laurentis is reading divorce papers in a fancy little room.
I just want to say quickly, because just before that, I've just written like, Toberky knows they're talking about like that Anytime song, I think. And he's like, I knew this song because my mum used to play it. And I was like, A is so fucked for this storyline.
Absolutely.
This is mean.
The A absolutely stands for this A.
Yeah.
It's mean.
It's really mean.
Meanie weenie. Speaking of mean.
Okay.
Kenneth Di Laurentis is going to divorce Jessica.
Damn. Mrs. D's got a lot going on.
You know, she's got a lot. She's got a lot of everything, but not a lot of D.
She needs to be
She needs to
on the Real Housewives of Potomac might be the nearest. Like she needs to be on Real Housewives of Philly,
Rosewood.
whatever.
Real Housewives of Rosewood. We all already
She
know. We would love that.
Eat the girls up. She'd be amazing.
I don't
She's
think
got
she
a
would.
lot.
I feel like she would absolutely not fit in Potomac whatsoever. Where I feel like
no.
the main storyline, you may have. I mean, comedian Matt Rogers has a lot of theories about how each franchise has its own like kind of like theme.
Yes.
And that Potomac is like colorism.
It is.
It absolutely is.
Get Mrs. D in there.
Get Mrs. D in there for them to all have an enemy.
To make a bunch of microaggressions,
Absolutely.
most likely.
For them to all have one person to be angry at rather than fighting with each other.
I think that is what the show needs, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Then Ezra slaps down a file in front of Maggie and is angry. And we see that it's some kind of like biomed
Lab
company.
results. He knows he's not the father of Malcolm.
Wow, you are not the father!
He is mad.
And I say, surely you knew, you dumb bitch.
We said it last episode, get a pap test.
Get a pap smear.
Get a pap smear. This is everyone's reminder.
Everyone.
To get your cervical screening.
Please. Apparently, at least here, it's now every 5 years. I'm still going every year because I'm scared. I would rather be safe than sorry.
I had mine last year.
It's uncomfortable, but we have to do it.
It goes for like 1 sec. It's done.
Also, I love getting to hear the word speculum every time.
I don't.
Which is the name of the thing.
Yeah.
Speculum.
I don't like speculum.
I don't like the thing, but the
It's
word.
a pretty word, but I don't like the idea of it near my put.
Put and what?
My put.
Then someone says, I can't remember who, but I've just written the quote, I think Cece snuck in to see Mona.
I've got Hannah sends a text to the other line
Yes.
saying she thinks Cece snuck in to see Mona. She runs
That's
into
right.
Caleb outside Veronica's office.
Okay, when she texts them this, it's in the biggest writing I've ever seen. She's zoomed in, and I was like, me vibes.
You and boomers and a lot of people.
I am a
It's
boomer
good for your eyes.
at
Yeah,
heart with the way that I
My
use phone.
optometrist was like, you need to make your screen font size bigger. And I haven't.
I have.
And that's probably why I get headaches.
Ding dong. That's ding dong
And
behavior.
my eyes get tired and I need eye drops.
Ding dong bell sounds like that. Ding dong bell looks like hard to see because you're not zooming.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't blurry.
Oh. Then, Caleb is on his way to tell Veronica about A because he wants to keep Hannah safe.
Yes. Yeah. And they kind of confront each other and he's like, I would rather keep you safe and have you hate me.
About Hannah, yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And then,
which is so cute. Our
so
Illy boy.
he is the best boy. And then they kiss and we do have a real cuck.
Oh, yeah.
And it's Reynold.
So Rennie doesn't want to be Ren. He watches from a car.
He's watching. Because he's everywhere.
He's cucking hardcore.
And then I guess.
And then all of a sudden, he's over at Law Firm Box House.
This is where I was like, everyone wants to see Victoria Slastings.
She's the woman of the hour.
And I said this last episode that they're really getting their like Leslie Farah money
As
in.
they
They're
should.
like, we've got her. And yeah, so Ren visits her and she's like, you're not welcome here, doll. You broke my daughter's heart. The barn. Let's talk about the barn.
Let's talk about the barn that my 14 at the time-year-old daughter renovated, and then you swooped in
Swooped in.
with
And then tried
Melissa.
to fuck my 14-year-old or I don't know, 16.
Everything you're doing is bad. You should have lost your medical license. And then he's like, well, I just want to warn you, you almost were family. I want to warn you, Mona's dangerous. I don't think she's over everything with your daughter. I think she's still trying to hurt them.
He's like, I think she's going to turn the tables on
the situation.
And yeah.
Don't trust him.
And then Veronica reminds him that he could lose his medical license for spilling mama.
Oh, mama.
But he's like, I owe you because you're my ex-MILF-in-law. Verbatim.
I owe you because you're my ex-MILF-in-law.
You're my ex-MILF-in-law.
I owe you because you're my ex-MILF-in-law. That's not even the
Verbatim.
kind of British accent that he has.
That's exactly how he said it and what he said.
Mama, I owe you.
milf-in-law.
Watch out for Mona because she's dangerous, isn't it?
She's dangy.
We hope that you're not offended if you're listening to us.
It's a compliment.
It's a compliment. Can't compliment.
Direct.
Then Maddie, we find Maddie. If your name's Maddie, hey, we love you.
I love the name Maddie. I like
too.
the name Maggie too. I really love the name Maggie.
Speaking of, she reveals to Ezra, we're back at paternity house, that she had a one-night stand when they were together back in the day, and that's who created Malcolm.
And
Mr.
he's like
Puppet
sad
Boy.
because he's like, you made me believe he was my kid.
He's like, you let me fall in love with him.
Which is, and he is saying things that I'm like, an uncle could know these things. A friend could know, like, he's like, I knew the names of his stuffed animals and everything. And I'm like, whatever, man. He is Ian Harding. No, I kind of do empathize with Ezra.
Ian Harding is really like.
He is acting phenomenally here.
Phenomenal.
Ian Harding is the GOAT. We love Ian Harding and we hate Ezra.
And we've been clear on that.
It's so nice when the show gives good actors something to do.
Yes, definitely.
Don't give Keegan Allen too much. Emily has a good final scene in this episode. They give Shay Mitchell some good work.
Absolutely.
But give it to Ian Harding.
Give it to
Troyan. Give it to...
You can always give it to Troyan.
Give
it to Janelle Parrish.
Oh my God. She was
Okay.
bred in a lab for this show.
Absolutely. For acting.
Yes,
Capital
for
A.
like teen drama, like CW dramas. Janelle Parrish was bred in a lab for that kind of thing.
I want to see her win an Oscar. I think she could.
I think she can EGOT.
I think she should EGOT. We know she got that voice.
She should. Maggie says soz and leaves. Over in Philly at the...
She simply says soz and leaves.
She's like, sozzy, BR big, G2G. We're at the...
LOL.
So we're in Philly because that's where we mentioned Jake is having a big fight night.
So Aria's like, well, let's combine activities. I'm going to find Cece. So she goes to the...
Because everything's in Philly.
Everything's in Philly. It's always sunny in Philly.
Cheesesteaks.
And there are cheesesteaks /
I love cheesesteaks.
potentially Cece.
Maybe. But mainly cheesesteaks.
Maybe cheesesteaks. Aria's looking for her and she goes to the address, I guess, that Caleb found or something. I can't remember. And there's a woman there and she's like, I'm looking for Cece Drake. And this woman says, well, if you find her, let me know.
This is so Law and Order. It's crazy.
Yes.
It is a busy street. This beautiful woman in her best business casual, like 2012 pink sheer. I think I had the exact same thing.
It's like half white, half pink.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. This would have been so in style at
the time.
But it's so Law and Order because she's really running up and down the stairs. People are beeping at her. She's like, if you want to park, move a box. It's like, that's not... No, move your car.
That's not the rules of the road, doll.
What the fuck? And it's so Law and Order because she is so angry. There's no pleasantries and she's giving so much information.
Yeah.
I love it.
We may as well go. Dun, 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 dun,
Dun,
dun,
dun,
You are.
I love SVU.
Law and Order jumping in SUV to go home and watch some Law and Order SV. You know what I'm talking about.
Speaking of Law and Order, over at Murder House, Mrs. D is talking about her marriage breakdown. I think to Emily. Yes.
This woman loves to overshare to a child.
Loves it.
In stress. A child already in stress.
You would be at a sleepover at her house and you would absolutely pull up a pew in the kitchen, pull up a stool at the bench and talk to her and she would really unload.
She does invite the girls over for a sleepover at one
She's
point.
and
they are
trying
like,
in this episode.
thanks, doll. No.
The vibe is really off.
Scared.
And so she's talking to Emily and she's like, I once saw a girl like that looked just like Allie jogging in the park. And Emily's like, I think I see Allie all the time too. ... Anyway.
Then she says that apparently Cece got kicked out this is the girl. We're back at the girl on the street, Law and Order girl.
Girl on the street. Philly on the street.
Philly on the street. Da-da-dee-da-dee. She tells Aria that Allison got Cece kicked out of Penn.
Yeah, is this UPenn or the UPenn stuff? Yeah.
We can never remember if it's UPenn or Penn. We know the two different schools. And then she says that Cece she's like, oh, you're one of those girls, Allison's
one
friends.
of the 4 she-devils.
She-devils.
And Aria's like, She-devil. Like it is like the fair reaction of like, what the fuck? I barely like know this chick. Like this is, and also they're not she-devils.
No. And so she's like, yeah, she hated all of you. And it's like, oh, interesting. And then Ali's house, Hannah's creeping around.
This was spooky.
She's like, Emily! Emily's nowhere. She's
in the house alone.
And we see Red Scroat in an alley mask walk past Hannah. Hannah's like, she keeps the door open when she walks in, and I immediately was like, close the door behind you.
Close your damn doors.
Close your damn doors. She opens up a jewelry box. We see her looking at everything like,
she picks up a ring.
And in the mirror, as soon as we see the focus go from Hannah's hand to the mirror of the box, I was like, we're going to see someone walk in that goddamn mirror. And you better believe we did.
Film and television has ruined looking in a mirror at night. Looking in like a mirror that can open and close. And then like anytime I always think there's going to be someone in the background. And Red Coat.
And Red Scroat was out.
Red Coat was so close to her. You would feel that.
And you would hear it because you were already hearing other creaks.
But Hannah's whatever. She's distracted.
She's distracted by some beautiful
This alley
jewelry.
mask, can I say?
Terrifying.
This alley mask looks like me when I put on heaps of serum. Because it's so like...
It's dewy.
Because I put on heaps of skin food.
Shout out.
Which Ash gave to... Well, Dale won it in a KK, a friend KK.
Look, we have a friend KK at Christmas every year.
I took it from him.
And I was very purposeful in getting products that I was like, the girlies will want to steal this.
They're
better than
good because they're like usable.
Yeah.
And it's just this like great moisturizer that I now use. And I put it on last night and I did look like the alley doll mask. Just shiny and it's awful.
It's awful, but it's beautiful.
But then the skin pops.
Speaking of pop, Toberky takes the music to Dr. Palmer, who is popping off. And by that, I mean, he's saying, I don't play doll.
He's going ape shit. He's popping off in that he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm chilling.
And that is an incredible segue by me. And then Victoria visits Mona off the record. And as soon as she steps in, I was like, no, get out of there. This is not going to be good for you, doll. Oh, no.
And she kind of will get like, it's sort of, I think this flits in between, but we'll just cover it now. She pretty much threatens Mona to stop coming for her family. It's very cunt.
It is very cunt.
But it's bad. I wouldn't go toe to toe with Moan.
No, never go toe to toe with
Myrtle over
Moan.
here. In Philly, Arya gets a call from Ezra. Oh, I love this.
Love this.
Okay, so she gets a call from Ezra because Ezra's like flopping so hard in his incel
It's
era.
giving fish.
Fish? Oh, flopping.
Flopping on the deck.
Magikarp.
It's giving Magikarp.
Arya gets a call from Ezra and then she's like looking at it and then Jake pops out, which is good. He's like, hey, I'm going to go on in 5. And then
he's going on for his big
she's
set.
like, I just need to take this. And I'm like, boo. But then she cancels the call and
she
goes,
declines and we say, yes, girl.
We love it.
And then we cut back to El Rados and Victoria threatens Mona and I'm like, no. And she says these two phrases I wrote. She said, I can be pretty scary myself. And I said, step on me. And then she also said, I have ways to see to it that you rot in a cell until your hair turns grey.
She is so compliment.
She's so can't compliment, but also she's making a bad move.
Yeah. Yeah, it's bad. It's so Julia.
It's so Julia. And then back to popping off at Dr. Palmer's.
The party's going off. The vibes are up. Everything is fucking sick. Everyone's playing piano. Anytime.
And by everyone, we mean Spencer.
And the vibes are low.
And
nothing is
absolutely opposite of what we described. They're trying to get him to
going
talk.
nowhere.
And he won't say anything. And
Dr.
then
Palmer's not well.
He's not well until Spencer tries to pop off with the saddest song of all time, Anytime.
Spencer's a genius because then he's like, oh, Marion, keep playing. Is Toberky coming today? He says verbatim.
He says, oh, Marion Kavanurky, is your son Toby Kavanurky coming?
I love his barge Berkey. And then Spencer, improviser of the year.
Okay.
Did classes at the Improv Conspiracy Melbourne with me and Ash.
Little Miss Longform.
She says, no, Toby's not coming today. And then she asks about the dangerous blonde girl. Like she's in character as Marion.
Absolutely.
She's a bit fucked for Toberky. He's probably like, I feel Oedipus feelings.
Vibes. He might have gotten horned up, actually.
Confusingly. So And then Spencer asks if it was Cece Drake.
And then as soon as like Spencer stops playing, he stops responding. And then out of nowhere, he's being wheeled off by some kind of attendant. And he says, "Can you please show Mrs. Di Laurentis to my office?"
Gagoo.
Gagoo.
It's a gagoo.
It's gagoo. It's goof. And it is...
Dun, 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 dun. What were you going to say?
I was going to wait for you to do something and then I was going to say yes and just like Spencer would.
Yeah. That was a great improv scene.
Thank you.
She nailed it.
She did. Why don't I say thank you?
Well, yeah, you can.
Thank
You can have
you.
it. You're Spencer coded sometimes.
Sometimes.
Compliment.
Thank you. Spencer thinks that Mrs. Di Laurentis went to visit
Ali's
mum at
in
Radley.
Radley.
Or that she went to visit Dr. Palmer, like that she was a patient of
Yeah.
Dr. Palmer's. And then so she goes to Murder House and she asks him, she's like, "Hey, do you know this
Everyone
Dr.
is just cutting the
Palmer?"
bullshit and going straight to the source. Like,
Which we love, actually.
We do love, and it is efficient storytelling.
Yes. And then and Jessica says she only saw him one time. And then we get, which we haven't had in so long, a sepia-toned flashback.
Thank God, because I love them because they're camp,
They're camp.
they're ham, and they give Ali something to do.
Absolutely.
In this flashback, we get a toxic ass mother-daughter fight as always.
Ooh.
Okay, so Ali's playing piano. Dun, 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 dun.
Sounds like that.
Sounds exactly like that. And then Jessica slams
Oh.
the piano
Lid. And almost breaks Ellie's
She's like,
hands.
"You nearly took off my limbs."
And I was like, "Girl,
I feel like your
I don't-
limbs are like
your limbs are your arms and your legs. Your fingers and your toes are your what are they called? Metatarsals and metacarpals.
Shit.
Oh
All right.
yeah, that's right.
It's crazy.
They're not limbs.
It's that the names of body parts are crazy, and also it's crazy that like Ali, this is like abusive behavior. This
Yes.
is bad. It's crazy that Ali is so bad that I'm like, whatever. Like, oh well.
Top of her fingers. I don't care.
I don't know. What are we doing?
what are we
Shush.
Then, yes, she's yelling at her, and apparently Jessica got a call from someone saying that her daughter was in Radley, and she was like very dangerous and saying that she was going to hurt herself or something. She freaked out. She got there. She's like, "I went through 3 stop signs to get there," and it was Cece dressed in all of Ali's clothes, head to toe.
Let's not run through stop signs.
Let's not. Hey, no matter what's going on, let's drive safe.
Genuinely, I did not hear that in the episode. Let's not do that.
Let's not.
You'll get to, it'll be like, you'll get there 2 minutes later.
She's in a facility.
It's fine.
They've got her, doll.
Jessica, crazy
Crazy.
diva. Who's that chick?
Who's that chick? Ooh,
Jessica Di
song of the summer.
That was so like poorly executed.
Who's that chick? Who's that chick?
There's also this Cece. I can't imagine how awful Cece and Ali would be to know at this time.
Crazy. And she
Awful
says something. She says something about when she got there. I don't know if it was Dr. Palmer says this to her or she said this, but she quotes more like wearing each other's personalities.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, because Spencer's like. Yeah, because I think Mrs. D is like, "Oh, they were so similar, like always doing things together." And Spencer's like wearing each other's clothes. And then Mrs. D says more
That's
like
right.
wearing each other's personalities,
Wow.
which is gagoo.
Gagoo.
Pretty good line. It's pretty gagoo.
And now we are back at Diet House / law firm Box House original. And someone is now accusing Victoria Slastings of
Oh my
obstruction
God.
of justice. Justice, which is terrifying because, of course, she did what we told her not to do, and she went and she threatened
She
Mona.
didn't listen. She did not listen. And now Ashley doesn't have a lawyer.
Now Ashley doesn't have a fucking lawyer, which is terrifying because she's, once again, as we all know, on trial for murder.
She is on trial for murder, but she's at home with a little ankle monitor. Boop, boop, boop.
Booping around. And then, quote, not that I really care about Jake and Aria, but he does say, "You're here with me eating a vegetarian burrito." And I can't help but smile right now.
Look, they're in Philly. They're on a stoop. They're flirting. Aria's style of flirting is like paying him out. Like she's really, at some point I was like, you can
Just
ease.
be nice, girl.
You can ease off.
How about you paid out the pedophile that you're with instead of
For God's
this guy,
sake.
who also might be pedophile because we can't be bothered figuring out what his age is.
No. These guys have proper chemistry. They flirt. It's cute. They kissy heaps is what
Like
I
kissy
wrote.
heaps. Next, I've written The famous furnace guy has arrived.
Oh my God. Also, we get line of the episode. It's not. But we do get Emily finds Mrs. D in the living room. She's knitting what was a jumper for her husband and is now a tight sweater for herself.
Sexy.
Her words.
Sexy.
The heater repair guy. Oh, this part of my manners. The heater repair guy is finally here.
All episode,
We've
they've been
been
talking
hearing-
about him.
We've been hearing about him all episode. We haven't mentioned him once.
No, we didn't need to because we wanted the big reveal. But they've been going, he's coming, he's on his way.
The biggest
heater.
A reveal there is hearing about the
heater
heater
guy.
guy. Because Mrs. D keeps teasing us. She's like, the heater guy's coming. The heater guy's coming.
She should,
Then he
instead of
comes.
making this sweater for her husband, she should make it for the heater
Oh my
guy.
God.
Suck and fuck him.
And we love him because he's like, I fixed the circuit breaker, but honey, you've got a bigger problem.
And she,
And he doesn't
then
say what that problem is.
imagine if then the camera went down, he was this big old dick. And she's like, oh, it's getting hot in here. And not just because you fixed the furnace.
And in our Andrew Cunanan, it was his fat
that
dick.
dick. Then,
But in the show, it was not. It
was not.
It's, you will find out in a second.
then we cut to Ren on a phone.
Ren loves a phone.
Ren loves to have a phone conversation that gives us lots of reasons to be suspicious.
A lot.
He says, I was shocked when I found out it was my former mother-in-law. Ooh,
Yes.
the sneaky boy. As he is, he's at Radley, he's like sitting in like a
It's like
hallway.
a hallway, yeah.
He's colouring in the drawing that he showed Mona to be like, how do you feel about this? And he's colouring in a
Red coat makes you think.
It makes you think. Then
Yeah, that's about
Jessica
it.
and Em go into the basement.
Okay, this scene is sick. There's like a song playing in the background. This is a good music moment. There's a great bit
It
where
was scary.
it's really scary, and Emily, they're in the basement. Emily thinks she sees Allie, like kind of like in a coat, and then when she like puts her torch on it or turns a light on, it's like a big old dog in a hood or something.
It's a big old weird,
very
like,
funny that she
stuffed
thought it was
toy
Allie.
dog that's like sitting upright.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
Like thought it was Allie.
also, then they don't. She goes like, and then Jessica turns to her, and then she's just like, acts like she didn't make that noise.
yeah, and it's like you're allowed to be scared
Because you're like, got scared.
because also you've been, I assume at this point, told that there's someone living in the crawl space. I assume.
even if you weren't, you're going down into a dark basement.
I
be
am so
scared.
glad I don't have an old big house. I would want the land value in this market, but I am.
It's scary.
This house is scary. I can smell the dust in this house.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's bad.
Then they see a sleeping bag and a bunch of like little like bits
I think like cans of soda.
soda.
I think I don't know. This is so they're like someone
this
has been
little hole.
using the basement as a little home, and they're so like, oh my God, that's crazy. And I'm like, that is so scary.
And Jessica's not that phased at all. 'cause
She's like not phased one iota.
she's kind of like, okay, it's probably from before Jason moved back in that year or whatever that we weren't living here, whatever. We'll just clean it out. And it's like,
that is
be
a
more
crazy
concerned.
thing to find. That is
Yeah.
so scary.
Then
She's numb. That's why
She's
she
numb.
should be a housewife, because she's seen it all. She doesn't know how bad her life is. You got to get her on TV.
we got to get her on. And I guess she is on TV in the
Well,
form
we
of
got to
being a
get her on
fictional
reality
character.
TV. Cameras
Yes.
on. Andy, cameras up.
Come on, Andy. Then Emily turns the lights off to leave. Where I was like, isn't there a light at the top of the stairs? Why would you turn them off down here? Anyway, and
This is
then
Gagoo.
it's a big Gagoo. She turns her head because she notices something. What does she see, Hayley?
She sees light shining through all these little peepholes that we saw in an A scene a few episodes ago.
Yes.
We see all these peepholes, and you
Peepos.
You see
We see all these peepos.
You see all these peepos. You see all these peepholes, and you can really like see like who's in the house and shit. And this is where I said, great music moment, and they finally gave something good for Shay to work with.
Absolutely. And it's scary.
I love this ending. This is a really good ending.
Then we have an A scene where the Fields house is all wrecked. It's all still fucked up. I feel like it's been weeks at this point. No one's cleaned up the wreckage. And we see A planting one of Ashley Marin's muddy shoes in the wreckage.
Like in Housewives, how they say leave the kids out of it, I want to say leave the mums out of it.
Leave the mums.
And that is not going to happen going forward. But leave the mums out of it.
Out.
Anyway, that doesn't happen. Cool. No triv, straight to Seggy's segment Seg Rolls.
Woo!
If you want some explainers on this, head to our Instagram, call.and.adult. And there's like a pinned post that explains them all. Forgot to say that in the last episode.
We also didn't.
This is fun.
We didn't also in the last episode didn't refer to them as seg roles, which felt crazy to me.
We were blast. Look, we were on one, and we still are.
And we still are.
Hottest adult of this epi.
I think Victoria Slastings, even though she was threatening people, being crazy.
You are right when you said step on my neck when she was like said to a child, "I'll put you in a jail cell for life." I was like, look,
Step on me.
she can step on me. I'm a little ant.
She's
a big old foot.
And she gonna squash.
She's gonna squash me. She is hot. Ren is hot too.
Ren is unfortunately hot when evil.
He really is.
I think he's hotter when he's evil.
No, genuinely, this episode, I was like, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the Ren. I'm not rooting for Ren, but
I
I'd
am
root
feeling.
Ren.
I'm not rooting for, but I would root.
But I would root him. Also, I kind of want to say like Jessica Di Laurentis is up there just for being like cuckoo, crazy.
Especially with that tight sweater.
Little tight sweater.
Get the titties out.
Yeah, please.
Form fitting.
Come on, the heater repair guy's here. Let's
Come on.
What was the yikes of this episode?
Ezra, everything Ezra does always.
Oh my God, yeah, because when, actually we didn't mention it, but when like, because I was going to say like red coat in the mirror was pretty scary, but someone else in the mirror, a man in the mirror Ezra and Michael Jackson, that would also
both
be very
pedophiles.
Scary. Exactly.
There you go, Andrew
Linked.
canonically.
But when Arya screens the call, declines the call,
Yes.
Ezra then just like looks and he's not like in a mirror,
He's
but it's
looking
like
out
a
a window.
reflection. Yeah, and it's like dark and he looks
Terrifying.
evil. And it is kind of like the villain spot. Like we talk about like the villain spotlight, all of a sudden everyone gets like the villain edit.
Yep.
Villain edit.
It's giving villain.
It was scary. I did not appreciate that. Gave me a yikes.
Hey.
Who gets a buttercream from us, Daddy Hastings?
I would like to give a buttercream to Emily for having to live in that scary house.
I would like to give one to Mrs. D because I think she just needs a lot to balance herself out.
Yeah. I would like to give one to Dr. Palmer.
Oh,
You know?
of course.
Okay.
Absolutely. Spencer for improvising.
Great scene work. She really lived in the character. She played out the relationship, which is the most important thing. in
The
the
heater
scene.
guy for arriving and fixing the circuit breaker is really important, and also finding that someone's living in the crawl space.
And for
Big
getting his
problem.
dick out.
And for getting his fat dick out.
Fat
We've
dick.
talked about it. And Ren for being just like a naughty little mouse. Like, I don't know, like
Scurry
crazy.
around.
Oh, and Caleb for wanting to protect Hannah. Like, this is a great ep. The people were peopling.
The people were people. and
Also,
they
the
do be
crazy
people.
chick on the street needs to wait for crazy bread, but can have a buttercream and a wine for giving Arya all that information.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I also want to give her a yikes for yelling at people trying to park in a public place. She had give cameras on her.
Cameras on her because she's on an episode of Law and Order.
She's crazy. Speaking of crazy, who needs to wait for crazy bread?
Ezra always.
Ezra always very much in this episode.
Yeah.
Ali, Cece, and Mrs. D kind of all in one.
Share a loaf of crazy bread together and sort
Yeah.
out your issues, girls. Sort them out.
Sort them out. That's it. There's more probably. What gave us a hardcover?
Once again, Veronica Hastings being threatening.
Step on us.
And also kind of like Ren being evil and colouring in. We love to colour in. It's a good therapeutic
we
activity.
love to colour, especially when you're being evil on the phone.
You gotta be
triple multitasking.
Your hands gotta be doing something.
Like you would Seymour right
Like
now.
me with Seymour.
What gave us a soft cover? What made us the opposite of horny?
Everything Ezra out the window.
Yeah, for me, red coat in the mirror and like the oily mask.
Not that.
Not that.
Also hardcover for Caleb being like, I want to protect you, I love you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And neither a hardcover or a soft cover, but a thrill. The peepholes in the ceiling.
These peepholes
a
like
thrill.
to see those peepholes.
Yeah, it was a thrill.
Nah.
Come on, who gets a wine from King Byron?
Jessica needs a gallon of wine.
She needs some wine.
She needs a cask
She
of
needs
wine.
it.
And Victoria.
Victoria Slastings.
I don't know where Pam is, but just remembering that the house is left in that state, give Pam some wine.
All adults can always have a wine a lot
Yeah.
of the time.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Except for Ezra.
Except fucking Ezra. Put him in jail. And line of the episode, there were a lot.
There were.
There were a lot. We'll split them up this time because like I have to say it is, and I'm going to read it out verbatim again, even
Yeah.
though it's 800 words long.
Please.
A used a sedan to wrecking ball Emily's house. Jenna showed up in a lake looking like soggy bread. And now you want to go to Radley and ring the bell jar? Caleb Rivers. I nearly said Caleb Nicole, which is from the OC.
I would like to also shout out to Caleb. I thought you and Carbs weren't friends anymore. And, of course, I think it's time you went to your parents and the cops and you tell them A is back. So
shout out to Newsflash, honey. None of us are graduating. Shout out to Is it an A text? No, worse, it's my mother. Shout out to the tight sweater.
Absolutely. Shout out to, of course, honey, none of us are graduating.
Shout out to that. Shout out to, I can put you in I didn't write it down, but put you in a jail cell and rot in there for life. Shout out to the circuit breaker's fixed. You've got bigger problems.
Ah! And he's talking about his fat dick.
He's talking about his big dick. And someone living in the crawl space.
Wow. What an episode.
That was that was a really good one.
Unfortunately for you guys, it was a really good one.
And it's over now. And this episode is over in probably a minute because we really vamp at the end of our episodes.
Hayley, I love you.
I love you so much, Ash. This was so fun. Listeners, we love you. We hope you have a wonderful weekend, week, day, whatever.
Month, year, life.
Truly, we do wish that for you.
Yeah. And you know one way to guarantee that you'll have that? To close your damn blinds. Because you never know who's peeping through the holes of your windows.
Check your floorboards right now. That would be quite scary if you were in the house and I said that. But check your floorboards.
Check your floorboards. Also check your window. Make sure no one's looking in. Make sure Ren's not in his car.
And if he is
watching you,
give him a little kiss.
Give him a little kissy. Say, sexy, can I kiss you?
Yeah. And if he says no, then don't.
Then don't, because that's consent and that's how that works.
Which is not really a thing in Rosewood. I don't think they know what consent is, but
No.
we do.
We do.
So
we're going to impart it up on you, the wisdom of consent.
And I hope Mrs. D makes you all a lasagna.
Ooh.
Because she said that at some point.
At some point. Or a tight sweater. Hope she knits you one.
I would love that.
Get it. Get her to do it.
All right.
There's sauce.
Ciao for now.
Tobacco.
Dun, dun, dun. The panic in my face of like, should we add lyrics to this? I was going to be like, got a secret. Can you keep it? But then I'm like, the gap's been too long. Ciao.
Love it. Beautiful listeners, if you didn't know, we actually have a Patreon, which we call The Dollhouse. So come hang out in our dollhouse.
We also have a YouTube channel. So if you want to watch this episode and other episodes, head to our YouTube channel and subscribe.
And you can find all updates at our Instagram or look in the episode show notes.
We love ya.
We love you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Call an Adult. We appreciate you more than Alison appreciates immortality, my darlings. Please give the show some love by giving us a 5-star rating and review on your podcast platform of choice.
You can stay up to date on episodes by following our Instagram at call.an.adult, as well as our respective Instagrams at Ashley Crapapp and at Hayley Tanto. Have a lovely day, and don't forget, shut your damn blinds! See ya! Call an Adult is recorded on the stolen lands of the Boonwurrung and Woiwurrung people of the Kulin Nation. We pay our respects to the traditional custodians of the land. Sovereignty was never ceded.